What's in the 2023 budget? Greetings, my Ghanaian sisters and brothers at home and abroad. This week, we awoke to headlines announcing that the NPP narrowly passed the 2023 budget over the objections of the NDC. As we unpack the news of the day concerning the upcoming budget, we must look to the past to grasp the present and understand the future. The budget presentations to Parliament were made by the Minister of Finance on November 24th, 2022. On that same date, the Ghana Black Stars were set to face off with Portugal in Qatar at the World Cup tournament. In preparation for the game, the President and more than a handful of MPP ministers and Parliament members were spotted in Qatar, leaving their seats empty for the budget presentation. On November 30th, 2022, the minority NDC made note of the absence of ministers and MPs, while the budget debate continued to slide through the approval process. As is usual with the budget process of Ghana, we will not see the final details until after its passage. Following the typical workings of Parliament, the minority will stand and make impassioned speeches pointing fingers at the majority. It is great theater and makes the average Ghanaian feel that we have a healthy two-party system, when in fact there are two branches on the same tree. The tree of governance in Ghana is deeply rooted in soil of money, wealth, and power. Each branch of the tree is dependent on its life. Like the branches, the NPP and NDC feed equally of the wealth of the nation and the work of its people. While the president, ministers, and MPs were enjoying the luxury of Qatar and VIP treatment, the up-and-coming members of the party were left to counter the minority in budget talks. As expected, the votes mirrored party lines. The minority NDC delegates cried that restructuring Ghana's debt and increasing consumption taxes should take a backseat to spending cuts. For their argument, the majority claimed that the public is undertaxed and the debt burden leaves them with their backs to the wall, forcing them to restructure the debt. In discussing the restructuring strategy on Monday, December 5th, 2022, Samuel Arthurst, Ghana's Treasury and Debt Management Director, announced that the final details would need to be revised following the debt exchange launch later in the month. By now, no one is surprised that a budget could be passed without details. The lack of details and solid budgetary policies towards the real opposition, the people, and the press from having meaningful input in the process. My name is Kofi Koranteng. I am your independent choice for president on the 2024 ballot, and my message is clear, concise, viable, and ready to take our nation into the future to create a new Ghana economy. My underlying principles and our policies use a science-based, data-driven, human-centered approach in forging the new Ghana economy of the 21st century. It is a plan that focuses on creating a living, working partnership between the governed and the government. It is a dynamic plan that is detailed, concise, and adaptable to meet the needs of the future, which includes instituting a national development plan for the next 20, 30, and 50 years. This plan will be based on balanced annual budgets that include paying down the accumulated debt and partnering for growth with Ghanaian entrepreneurs. The focus of my plan includes dusting off the Akwaba mat for brothers and sisters in the diaspora. I have publicly published my plan on the website at kofikoranteng.com. I invite you to explore my detailed policies, plans, blueprints, and philosophy of governance at your leisure and in detail. An educated electorate is the best weapon against tyranny, deception, lies, and a corrupt government. The draft 2023 budget speech presented on 24th November 2022 to Parliament presents the right narrative. The problem arises when it is time for action. In the budget presented on behalf of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, while he enjoyed the VIP treatment of Qatar at the expense of hard-working Ghanaians in the fields, factories, oil rigs, mines, and marketplaces, it calls for 1. Aggressively mobilize domestic revenue, boost local productive capacity, promote a diversified and vibrant value-added export sector, streamline expenditures, protect the poor and vulnerable, expand digital and physical infrastructure, and implement structural and public sector reforms. These are goals that cannot be argued against. However, we all know that they are the same goals as every budget for the last 2 decades that have never been accomplished. It is time for the show to end and the work to begin. The optics are clear. An MPP administration presents an austerity budget to Parliament asking for swift passage. The budget is based on austerity for the average citizen, investor, worker, and entrepreneur, along with homegrown and self-owned companies and businesses. Meanwhile, back at the luxury box at the World Cup, the president and MPP ministers and MPs are enjoying luxuries that the average Ghanaian cannot even dream about enjoying in their lifetime. When the majority and minority publicly debate the annual budget, there are many line items that are sacred and never discussed. It affects their abilities to obtain, maintain, and grow their generational wealth at the expense of the nation, that they plunge into debt. Ex gratia and Article 71 are sacred line items in the budget. These are the first line items that should be cut. In 2018, News Ghana 24 estimated that the 2020 cost of ex gratia payments would be 25 million Ghana cedis. In the same story by News Ghana 24 titled Gargantuan Ex Gratia for Parliamentarians, Ministers, and Others Too Expensive for Ghana, the writers note our findings has also revealed that 100,000 cedis is provided to every MP to buy a car every 4 years and other countless fringe benefits. Yet, we have bad roads, poor resourced education system right from the basic schools. Our economy is struggling. Our people are drinking from rivers and streams, and employees are battling with tariffs and high cost of living. Does this sound familiar? The story is 4 years old, yet still on repeat. Please visit the story at this URL. I have provided the URL in the video for your perusal. I must acknowledge the work of this news outlet in educating the citizens. Along with new leadership in government, it is essential that the press are the watchdogs of the government. It is up to the press to educate the electorate and hold the government accountable. We need the press to be the eyes and the ears of the people, not the rubber stamp of the government. There are those who say that ex gratia and Article 71 are not law and must pass a review to be awarded. Let's be real. Has the MPP or NDC ever denied payments to themselves or each other? President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his ministers took great pride in announcing that they would take pay cuts of up to 30% in the 2023 budget. He does not mention cutting the perks of homes, automobiles, luxury travel, household help, food, fuel, vacations, and all the amenities that are an accepted fact of the government officials of Ghana. When the MPP is the minority, they will not challenge these perks. When the NDC is the minority, they offer the same courtesy they will not challenge these perks. The 30% cut mentioned in this pre-budget speech by the president is hard to find among the line items in the presented 2023 budget. When each side talks about the national debt that is now approaching, if not surpassing 100% of debt to GDP, remember that this is not the work of one party. The NPP and NDC have both gone hand in hand to IMF to seek loans that have contributed to this massive national debt. When they blame each other, it is all part of the show. They are both to blame. As they ram the next budget down the throats of Ghanaians and enjoy their worldwide travel, it is time to say enough. Each of us, from young to old, from marketplace to university, must rise and oppose a budget that keeps the game alive while crushing the dreams of Ghanaians and that of future generations. It won't come easy after decades of corruption, but we must begin. In my plan, I discuss changes that will begin to heal the fiscal wounds of our nation. They include changing the Constitution, a national development plan for the next 20, 30, and 50 years, abolishing Article 71 and ex gratia, investing $10 billion annually for the next decade in agriculture innovations, enforcing law and order, focusing on developing skills for the youth, and instituting a flat rate import duty. Complete all unfinished projects by the NPP and NDC with strict fiscal oversight and auditing. Let's begin the dialogue to change the dynamics of Ghana. I challenge the NDC and NPP to openly debate the budget with me and the citizens instead of presenting another show filled with wasted words. Join me as I travel the nation to discuss and sharpen a vision for a new Ghana economy driven by our most pristine youth, who are the future of our nation and the African continent. Explore my ideas, policies, and vision for a new Ghana economy at kofikoranteng.com. Join the conversation on a new Ghana on Telegram at t.me/KK2024. Donate what you can at kofikoranteng.com/donate. Post your comments on our social media sites and reach out to the campaign with your thoughts and ideas. As I close out tonight, I call on the press to be the beacon of truth and hold the president, vice president, the ministers and MPs from both sides accountable. Look for another important topic next week as I continue this series of exploring the issues. Thank you for your time, attention, and conviction in fighting for Ghana. It's time that we show the NPP and NDC the way out of our Ghana. God bless me to serve my homeland Ghana. Stay well.